G'day guys, we are away on holiday tomorrow. Woohoo! So, why don't you join me for a trip around the farm so we can see what's going on and leave a plan for my uncle who's going to be looking after the place. Early born lambs just come into here, beautiful young grass. Probably left them in there a little bit long, but that's alright, we've got plenty done. Yeah, so we're going to have a look at some lambs around the place, see what the ewes are doing, check some crops out, and yeah, then we'll be away to Wanaka. And of course, we're taking the trusty old Big Red. Damn, these lambs are looking good. You'll have to excuse that rat bag there. That's one of last year's lambs, but South Downs are just meaty as. So when we get back from holiday, hopefully we're going to get a good whack of these away. And then a few of the terminals as well. And we'll have a look at the Romneys as well. First job, the very first day we get back from holiday. Back on the 23rd. 24th, probably won't even be unpacked. We're going to get the Romneys in. We're going to split them boys and girls, because that's where all our replacements are. We need them out so that we don't send any good lambs to the works. Any good replacement lambs, I should say. They'll all be good lambs we send to the works, but don't want to waste the good replacements. And then get everything over the scales, weighed up, and yeah, see if we can get some lambs away. Anyway, first stop after that is going to be our best looking crop of Swedes, which is looking pretty bloody good. So here we go. A few gaps in there, but nothing really to worry about. They are not looking bad for the start of January. I suppose we're in the middle of January now. We're not going to be breaking any records this year. It's the first sign of a bulb I've seen right there. But they're not bad. They're not bad at all. Have to excuse the big chunk of grass here. This is the headland strip, and we're ploughing met. To be fair, for the most part it ain't too bad. And this paddock we did think was going to be a failure at one point, so yeah, they're not going to be the best crop we've ever had, but they're going to do. Not too much in the way of bugs around. Waiting on the chopper man to get back to me, but the spray job's going to have to wait till we get back from Wanaka now. Yeah, looking very healthy considering. But an absolute prick of a year for establishment. Thunderstorms cause a lot of issues. They just shift a lot of soil around a little bit. Some Swedes get buried too deep. Some had already germinated, had all the soil washed off the roots. They still, most of them seem to survive. But they get set back. We've had duck issues. We have had, it just got really cold after planting, just for a wee while, but kind of a crucial point in time, and yeah, they just didn't get off to a great start. And I can't remember, something else went wrong too. I was this close to blaming the planter or the seed at one point for one issue we're having, but I'll show you that later on. Never blame the planter, almost never blame the seed, because it is almost always something else. They're looking good. Then we've got these guys running around. These are the terminal lambs. They're all running away from me right now, so I can't really show you them much. They're looking reasonable, but they do seem to want to hang in that gateway down there. Where are we? Down there somewhere. So these guys are actually getting shifted today. We're going to go put them on that 13 hectares of young grass we've got sown in September, and another couple of paddocks, I think. Yeah, I'll show you. There's a lot of good quality feed in here. Lots of clover, bearing in mind they've already been in here for ages, but it's sort of, yeah, gone flat. We've sort of dirtied it up a bit, so they don't seem too keen on eating it. So let it freshen up a bit. It's a bit dangerous because it's still going to be that heavy, it's going to go flat again. But that is the season that's been, and yes, I could have been more on the ball with this, but to do that, it would have been a whole lot of work we hadn't got done, so she's all a balancing act. And some people might disagree with this, but our family holiday we have every year at exactly the same time, that's booked a year in advance, is a big part of our farming calendar, because without that we're all going to go stir crazy mad and lose our minds. So yeah, got to factor that in when we're making decisions. So this isn't ideal. We'll probably have wasted a little bit of feed, and that may hurt us moving forward if it gets really dry, but well, there's no rain in the forecast. That sky does look good, because we haven't got sun bearing down on us, we haven't got a huge amount of wind blowing, drying everything out, and we are at risk of getting quite dry at the moment. So anyway, these guys are going to get moved on today. I'm waffling. We'll move on to the next mob, which is those guys up there, which are also hanging back in a gateway, which I don't like, but we'll go and have a look. Just sort of looking at the feed growing here, it's not the best quality, but there is actually quite a wee bite there, and now I'm starting to second guess whether this mob is going to get shifted or whether they're just going to get a few more paddocks. It's quite hard to balance when you're going away for 10 days, and it's quite a big job to shift one of these mobs to the other side of the farm. I know my uncle's more than capable of doing it, but I don't like asking him to do jobs like that, because without hunterways it is a bit of a shit of a job trying to get those lambs to run through the yards. Even though they've only got to go around the edge, they've still got to go in, and they might not want to do that. So yeah, I'll decide at the end of this tour what we're doing, but I think we'll probably still move them on. Yeah, this is a bit more like it. This is all that white flare in there. It's what we want to see. Not a huge amount of clover leaf, but it is there down underneath. These paddocks haven't been topped yet, so yeah. There we go, look at this over here. That's the sort of stuff we want to see. Lots of clover. Lambs just love that clover. So once again, it has got quite heavy and gone a bit flat. Yeah, this is not really that ideal, but that's what we're doing for a little bit. Sort of see the feed quality is pretty rough, but I think they've sort of done in here what I was hoping they would do, which is just take some of the bulk out of it. They haven't taken a lot out, but I've sort of thinned it out a wee bit. Yeah, I think they've done well. So we sort of locked them in here after we drenched them, which was Monday, I think. Can't even remember what day of the week it was now. So they've been here 3 or 4 days. Might have been the next day I hunted them up actually. We'll say Tuesday, today's Thursday. So they've been here 2 days. Why, yeah, 2 days. Hang on. The kettle ate the key, so the only way to turn it off now is to go like that. Yeah, feed just got way out of hand up here. They've eaten a lot of the clover out of it, a lot of the goodness. The grass level in there is shorter than it was. Like there's a long patch, right over here is a short patch. It's not too bad. Love to put the kettle up here, but neighbours got their cows and calves there, and they were there first, so we won't be doing that. Yeah, we shall see. Shall see. It's pretty untidy, and it's a huge paddock. It's 15 hectares, or roughly 40 acres, just shy of 40 acres, I think. So yeah, it's going to take some cleaning up with the ewes, but we may just split it in half with a break fence and give them 2 7.5 hectare lots and do it that way. Might be a bit easier on them, but we will get there. It's the only paddock left on the farm that's this bad. So yeah, early topping is a good thing, guys. Get into early topping. Only reason we didn't this year was because there was all this talk of dry and early dry. No one knows, and no one was saying for sure that it was going to happen, but you'd feel like a right idiot if you drove around and wasted that little bit of length of grass, which over the whole farm probably feeds the ewes for 3 weeks post weaning, if you were dry and had no feed around. So yeah, we're currently dry, but we've got plenty of feed around, and the grass is still growing, so certainly haven't burned off. It's a really tricky one, this, but I think we're going to leave them here for 1 more day, and tomorrow we shall throw that gate open there into that paddock, and in that paddock. And yeah, it'll hurt land growth a wee bit. Will they grow anything today? They'll probably still grow, but they won't be realising their maximum growth rates, that's for sure. But just to try and take a bit more out of this, there's 1,600 lambs in here. So if they're going to eat, let's say they're going to eat 1.5 kilos a day, we're always told they need 2 available. We don't really work on that sort of theory though. So there you go guys, that's us there, right up into that wee corner. The browner one back there is not, and that one's not. This one is. So we've just been around all that. I'll get my hand out of the road, focus camera, all that area. So that knob there's as, this bit is, but back there isn't, and that's not. So that's the boundary fence running along there. So we've been all around there. There's that Swede paddock. There's the young grass we just put those early lambs into, and there goes the paddock they came out of. This is the previous season's young grass, I think, is it? Yeah, it is, yep. Grazed with the ewes about, I don't know, 12 days ago maybe, topped, and it's coming back pretty nice. Could definitely do with a lick of moisture, but nice wee clover coming up there. Clover root weevil is obviously still around because that says we bite marks. Come on, camera, focus. Has we bite marks out of that clover, which is not ideal, and you see that damage as well. But plenty of healthy stuff there, so it should come back. Still got a few of these. I hate Californian thistles, but yeah, should bounce back alright. A few rocky knobs, even just right here you can see one further down, that are burning off because we haven't had any rain for a while, any decent rain. And of course this line where we pulled the water line in, all exposed, so it will dry off too. But yeah, that paddock's the same. As you can see, that knob's looking pretty juicy. Down here, further over is a bit drier, but it's alright, it'll come back. Couple of weeping willows were just planted yesterday. Bit of wool around the bottom to suppress the grass, not that they're going to need it. Another one just down there. Yeah, I know they're not natives, but they're nice trees. Well away from any waterways, so they're not going to cause any harm that way. And there's just something nice when these things get old, about having this great big tree that is just beautifully eaten off across the bottom because the branches all sort of hang down. And yeah, the sheep love eating it. It doesn't do them any harm either. So you get these beautifully trimmed at the bottom trees, and it just looks quite cool. So we're going to put quite a few of them in because yeah, they're great shade trees over summer. They don't offer a lot of shelter over winter, but we've got other things we can do for that. Yeah, supposed to be planting trees, aren't we? Check this out though. All this ground over here. Look at all that beautiful clover out there. And also all that crap rough grass. Last time we cropped this paddock, so it's in crop up there, and you can just see it up there. We'll have a look at it at some point. We ploughed a line pretty much down there. We come around here and just over the base and sort of drop down off. I think I did come down that line and do that bit too. I didn't do any of that, just for reasons of not wanting to lose soil. So big thing with winter cropping is this soil loss thing, and yeah, I don't think the government quite realise that farmers don't want to be losing their soil. They're focusing on the water quality side of things. We care about water quality too, but our soil is what we're making money out of. It's what we make our living off over generations, so we don't want to be losing it. In actual matter of fact, we are building soil up through the stuff that's rotting back into the ground, and of course animal poo is great manure, the best manure, especially from sheep. So yeah, we would have cropped a bit of this, where are we, in here, would have been the better area, and the rest of it we would have left. But now, because of stupid government regulation, we're going to spend a whole lot of money right from way out of sight. We're going to come up the bank, the other side of that big lot of trees, right along the edge, right along here, and we're going to stop there. And for now this year, we're going to run across to that fence. It'll be a strong fence, but not a full permanent fence. Then in time, not going to be a good year for money this year, so we're not going to be buying any fence posts. We're going to use all we've got here. We're going to come down here, around there, along, and back to that strainer just right there. And that'll be that bank fenced off, so in future we'll still be able to possibly do something with this. But yeah, the main reason for doing it this year is because we want to be able to utilise that feed. This basin down here will be one of the best growing areas in the farm. Don't know why. Sheep are supposed to camp on top of a hill, but but they don't in this paddock. They camp down here, and man, it grows some feed. So we've already lost a lot of opportunity there, but we'll get it back in the autumn. We want to get that bank fenced off anyway, but yeah, I'd have to have a measure up. I think there's about 900 metres of fence there, which in today's prices, doing it ourselves, is probably still $11,000 or $12,000 worth of fencing that we're going to have to do this year to try and keep this ground in production because of the government's stupid bloody laws. We're only grazing it with sheep. We're not going to do the stupid stuff, like, we're not going to do that. There's no way we're going to do that. It doesn't grow much anyway. But, yeah. Sometimes I think agriculture needs protected from governments because they don't aim to do what's best. They aim to do what's best for them and making themselves look good. So, I'm far too young to be this cynical about governments, but what do you do? Check out that clover in here. Not that much leaf about, but certainly plenty of flower. Oh guys, this is sort of changing my mind a wee bit. There's reasonable feed here, but it is in patches. We come over here and there's not really very much. That over there is that first mob of lambs we shifted. Second mob we looked at it just behind that hill. And I'm now actually thinking that paddock had quite a bit of feed on it, so I think we might bring them to here. There's 250 of them. Chuck them in here with the calves. They can have this paddock and that paddock, and they can just be on them. They may have that one as well. We'll see. I think they might as well have that one. Plenty of clover in there. Small mob of lambs. And that'll free up that 9 hectares, plus that there is 6 hectares for that other mob to have. So they'll have 9, 6, and 12 is, crikey, this shouldn't take that long to work out. 18, 23 hectares for 970 odd lambs, which should be alright for 10 days. This lot here, however, will have 13 hectares for 250 lambs and 50 something calves, but that's alright too. Now, this paddock here is a bit of an interesting one because lots of thistles coming back. This is the very first paddock we topped, and it is a bad paddock for thistles. It had a low rate of Versatile going here when it was in Swedes, and it did not work. So yeah, we'll have a look down here and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So lots of thistles, seed head, we got dog's tail right there. I do believe that is goosegrass. There's ryegrass, that's the stuff we want to have, that's cool. Lots of thistles, should be some cocksfoot in here too because stupidly we planted some, but look at all that clover. Look at all that clover just sitting there, and I think it's going to stop the grass a wee bit. I think it's going to beat it, and I think it's going to grow up. And that gives us a lot of yield in clover that lambs just love to fatten on. So as much as I'd love to get the ewes in here and deck this out and mow these thistles again, which we will, just not now because the ewes are literally right over there. Yeah, I think we're going to leave this. We're not going to put any lambs on here, and when we get back from Wanaka, I would think, I'm not certain, but I would think this would be quite a nice lamb fattening paddock. We'll just see how that goes. And with the young grass just there, the one we're in just over there, yeah, could be a nice wee block to fatten some lambs up on, plus that other one we come through, that hill one. Yeah, we'll see. Check out that little beast, would you? Oh. That paddock there, this is the second young grass paddock, the other one is just out of sight over there, is actually looking a lot nicer. So we might put those 250 lambs in here, and I'll just leave instructions with my uncle to let them out when he sees fit. This outside half round is disgusting, but we'll talk about that. Covering harrows. Always got to come back and cover that first half round, because you offset the harrows off to one side, they get tangled in the fence, but you need to see your mark on that side from the roller, because I don't have GPS. Get a hold of my wife about that, tell her I need GPS. Yeah, so that's what happens when you don't come back and cover it at the end. One day I will learn from the mistakes. And the ewes, all the breeding ewes, all the keepers. Currently in 2 5-hectare paddocks, which is not ideal. Ideally we'd have them in one, deck it out, move them into the next one. But we are lagging behind a little bit in a bit of infrastructure. Water scheme. This paddock has no water in it. That one does. That one, that's not as. That one does. Weather's been quite hot at the moment. If it was raining, the ewes would not even go near water because they get enough water from the grass. Like over winter time, for example, when the grass is really juicy and green, they don't drink water because they're eating, essentially they're eating sort of 12 to 15 litres of water a day in their diet. I know I said eating water, essentially they are, it's in the food. So we don't have to worry about it. This time of year though, we put ewes in here, we lock them in here for 3 or 4 hot days. Well, you just wouldn't do it because A, it's not going to be fun for them, but B, you're going to actually get to the point where you're probably going to start losing sheep, and nobody wants that. So I got both paddocks. It'll take more than twice as long to clean up. The finish won't be as nice. Obviously when they first go into a paddock, there's some nice juicy tucker there. They eat that, they put on some weight, and then they can afford to sort of, I don't want to say suffer, they can be pushed a bit to clean up some of the rougher stuff, and then they move on to the next one. They get that juicy feed again. That might be 3 or 4 days each paddock. This way they're probably going to be in here 8 to 10 days, and they're going to eat the juicy stuff and they're going to put on a bit of weight, but then the amount of time it takes them to eat the rough stuff, and we're not asking them to eat all of this. To be fair, this bit up here is actually probably only a couple of days away from being able to be topped, but bottom of the paddock's a bit of a different story. They're just in there for so long without getting any good quality feed that it doesn't do anything any good. But to get a water trough in here is going to cost us, told me to pay to get the digger here, then the time for the digger doing the work, if we got them just to put this line in, the pipe, what are we going to be? Probably going to be about $2,000. That's a trough. Yeah, that's got to be paid out of money that we've paid tax on. So what we've done so far, everything we've done, is replacement of an existing water scheme, and I've got to find out, this is going to be extension of a water scheme, so I'm pretty sure that it's capital expenditure and not deemed repairs and maintenance. Fencing used to be the same. New fencing, you would have to use taxpayer money to buy it, and then I guess in some way you can claim depreciation on that. Any repairs to fencing were tax deductible, but with fencing I think that is deemed it too complicated, so they said right, everything's tax deductible. I'm hoping in future they do the same with water schemes, because if they want us to fence the stock out of creeks, which for sheep is not law yet, and I'm hoping won't be, it is over winter and I've got no issue with that, especially on crop. But yeah, over summer, it's the negative effects of sheep and waterways I feel are outweighed by the positive effects. Lack of herbicides, lack of weeds, they sort of firm the banks up so they stop corroding in. Take all that foliage off them, and that foliage is what pulls the banks in. So yeah, we could go and plant them all out in trees, but that does cost a fortune and we need to make the money to do that. A way to make it easier would be good if the government could say, right, water schemes outright tax deductible. That may happen one day, I hope it does, because yeah, in order to fence stock out of creeks, and we are talking sheep here, and in order to plant them, whatever you're going to do, you've got to have water in the paddocks. You cannot have stock without water. So yeah, a little bit of encouragement there, I guess you'd say, would be a nice thing. And at the end of the day, it doesn't actually make any difference to the tax take for the government over a long period of time, because we can either use taxpayer money for it, which the government benefit from early on, but then claim depreciation on that, because that's the way business works. Every business gets to do that, not just farming. 30, 40 years down the track, the government's no better off. Why not just say, okay, tax deductible, but then you make the money in the future, you don't get the tax deductibility and depreciation. Yeah, like they did with fencing. We'll see. Anyway, that's why we haven't done this yet. All the lines we've got in, like I say, replacing an existing scheme, wasn't really big enough, and it's not exactly where the old one was, but if anyone argues the point there, I think if it goes to court, we will clean that up easy. It's pretty obvious that it is replacement. So we'll get that tidied up, if we make a bit of money this year, then next year we will have a trough in this paddock, and there's another one just down there that's in the same boat that we will also hopefully get a trough in. Yeah, and then we can manage these paddocks a bit better over summer. The fencing is great for the rest of the year, like over winter it's great, over lambing time it's awesome. It would just be nice to be able to put them in 5 hectares, deck it out, top it, move them on to the next one, do the same, carry on around. You grow more grass, you get fatter ewes, your lambs do better, you got more lamb tucker, everything's a win. But yeah, good things take time. Ewes are looking bloody primo though. Yeah, this is by far and away the worst lot of Swedes we got. I was on the edge of blaming the planter or the seed. But these guys have been in 60 days, roughly 60 days now. See that little fella there? Just come up. Another one just there. They've had a hard time. I think this is just a very hungry bit of ground. Yeah, a few weeds and stuff in there, but they've been suppressed by that spray. Did knock the Swedes around a bit too, but had to be done. So yeah, the rest of this paddock sort of up towards the trees is looking reasonable, and then the other side of the trees there's another 4 hectares or something, and it's looking wicked. It's looking like that first paddock we showed you. Sorry, I can't turn this thing off, but I just want to show you this. See how heavy these toppings are? Just swing around, out there they're not so bad, and just out there they're not very bad either, and just in here they sort of thin out and then boom. This is where we had cattle on crop, up in this flat area of the paddock, and obviously as the season went on, the winter went on, the effect is a bit less, but yeah, just back here where they were on for ages, I don't know why. Maybe there's just some older grasses growing, maybe they did something to the soil and it doesn't bloody grow as nice quality of a feed, but yeah, it's, I don't know if you guys can pick it up on camera, but it's certainly quite obvious to me that, yeah, reinforces my not wanting to winter cattle on crop anymore. This is what I don't like. And this is the bottom end of that paddock where the ewes are, well, the next one down. They're going to be a wee while in here cleaning up this crap. Be another probably 4 days, maybe 5. It's going to be a little bit hard on them, but it's just got to be done. There'll be a little bit of residual left too that we'll have to mow, but that's alright. They are looking spectacularly good and certainly have the condition on them. You don't actually want the ewes getting too fat at this time of year. You want them fat at mating, but it's sort of a tricky one. You don't want to be too hard on them at mating, so if you've already got them really fat, then yeah, you sort of got to control their intake a bit, whereas as much as we don't want to go taking weight off them right now, we may as well take that opportunity to clean up some quality, clean up some rough and restore some quality, and yeah, this one and that other one with the lambs will be the roughest of the farm. This one isn't as bad, but it's still pretty bad, but beyond that, everything's pretty reasonable, but it's going to be a while till the ewes get to some of those paddocks, so that could be a problem as well. But we've got those cattle there, I'm going to fire them across the road next, and yeah, hopefully they can stay on top of a heap of the rough stuff. There's 5, 10, 13, 18, 22, 26 hectares over there, which 50 cattle should be pretty bloody happy on. Check them out. Not bad looking Romney ewes. A few light ones in there. We are going to take them out when we get back from Wanaka, but yeah, they're not bad light, that's for sure. They're not bad light at all. Well, here's the third crop of Swedes. Very first one's planted, and yeah, they're actually looking pretty reasonable. We won't go too far out, but out there's a gap up the middle where there's a Toll Creek, and the other side about 3 hectares in this one, and yeah, they got wiped out by ducks, absolutely annihilated, and now they have bounced back reasonably well. A few of them are missing. That's a fodder beet. Quite a few are missing, which is annoying because they struck really well, and this was going to be on track to be, it was on track to be the best paddock. Yeah, but is what it is. Quite a few thistles around there. We're going to take care of them when we get back from holiday. Yeah, bit of fat hen stuff in the middle. Nah, not the end of the world. We're going to sort that out next year. We'll start using a pre-emerge, but that's number 3. Yeah, just had a major change of plan with what we're doing with stock, but I think we've got a plan sorted now. So yeah, we're just going to have a bit more of a look around over here, which is the other side of the road. Got 2 more paddocks to have a look at and see what the feed's like. What did I say is over here? 13 and 14. Call it 27 hectares-ish, 26, 27. We're going to put about 400 or 500 lambs over here, then 400 or 500 lambs on that second and third lot of young grass we saw, and the other lot of, well, that's the terminal lambs. Then those earlies can stay where they are. There's another paddock there if they need it, which I know they won't. Cattle are going to go to where those lambs were, that rough stuff we looked at, second lot. Yeah, calves can go up on the young grass with the other 400 lambs, and I think that'll be us sorted. We can bugger off for 10 days. Yeah, just looking at the river down here to see if we can see a fish, but quite often on this bridge you'll see one. No sign of anything swimming down there at the moment, but yeah, it's not an uncommon sight to see one sneaking up past here. See, we've got lake snot in the real snow, or whatever they call it in the river now, so yeah, that's lovely. Don't know much about that. Is what it is. Some kind of algae or weed or something that grows all around the lakes. It's in Wanaka, it's in Te Anau, or is it not in Te Anau? It's in Manapori. Ironically, not one caused by nutrients from farming, because it's in all the headwaters. So yeah, not ideal. It's not Didymo, the one that an angler brought in from the States or something, but it is, yeah, not that nice to look at. Yeah, there's not a lot of quantity of quality here. There's a bit of quantity, but within it there's some really nice quality stuff. So I think we're going to put some lambs across here, get a bit of a better look at it in this paddock. It's a nice wee pick in here for some lambs. So if we don't stock it up too heavy, they're only going to be in here at sort of 20 to the hectare. Yeah, I think we should be alright. Lots of thistles. And yeah, here we have the by far and away worst crop of sweets to look at. Never know what they're going to do until they're done, but they got hammered by thunderstorms. They were the last ones to come up for some reason. I think the shallow ploughing gave them a bit of a hard time. It was really dry when we ploughed this paddock, and my plough was quite worn, so didn't work too well, but yeah, is what it is. They'll still be reasonable. Hopefully we'll still get 15, 16 tonne out of this paddock. Hopefully that one up there might make 16, 17. That one over there, depending on the season, we might go close to 20. And the one just down there out of sight, I don't know, 16, 18. Good work, Ted. There you go, the Two-Tooth guys, looking very, very happy. How steady can I hold my phone? Dirty bums off the young grass have cleaned up quite well. Not completely, but they're dried up. Dags are falling off, so that's a good thing. And the maize, yes, I saw a lot of sun yesterday. Don't worry, I'm getting better at wearing my hat again. Maize is absolutely cranking. Don't know what I'm going to do with this. It's meant to be ewe feed. I'm seriously considering it becoming lamb feed. I don't know. I'm going to talk to some vets about it, but check this out. We're up to Short's height, well and truly. And this clover, it's starting to climb. It's got this big stem here, which apparently is quite hollow and not a lot of dry matter in it, but check that out. It's at 80% of the height of the maize. Yeah, it's unreal. Interesting. Yeah, what a dilemma to have. A lot of beautiful, high quality, low risk feed. And by low risk, I'm meaning no phytoestrogen, which is something red clovers produce. In far lower quantities these days. To be fair, the modern ones are probably pretty good, but it'll stop your ewes cycling, or definitely reduce cycling of ewes, and therefore they don't get in lamb. None of that risk here. Corn, especially when it's like this, maize, is basically just grass. I do have to talk to a few vets. I want a few different opinions on that, just to see whether we need to transition, how much we need to transition, remembering that is grass and clover, and in essence, not quite, but this is grass and clover. So yeah, we'll see. But good problem to have. No rain in the forecast. We've got a heap of feed around, but there is no rain in the forecast. It may be that if it does get dry, we actually hold on to this for a bit of flushing feed for the ewes, because it would be pretty awesome for that. Yeah, I don't know. We'll find out when we put stock on it what we're putting on it, I guess.